Before I get into these picks that I've made, I want to say, haven't listened to as much music this year. Obviously, it's been kind of a crazy year. We all know this. This list is not going to be filled with as much new stuff for me. Most of what I listened to was content from artists who I've already been familiar with. So that will be a little bit different. I didn't listen to the vast sprawl of music that I have in years past, but I do think I'm gonna pick some pretty good stuff here. So I guess I'll just get into that. Before I get into the honorable mentions, I wanted to go into some albums that I didn't even really listen to, but I thought were worth mentioning, that I heard some songs off of that I thought were good or piqued my curiosity and wish that I would have delved into further. Got some note cards here. First of all, Rina Sawayama, I think that's how you pronounce it. Self-titled, sounded pretty cool, didn't really listen to it. The Weeknd, After Hours, don't really care about The Weeknd that much. Did at a time, I suppose. Heard a lot of great things about it. Singles were okay, so I know a lot of people love that. The new Arca album, Kick 1, Kick I, it was basically just one extended song. A little daunting for me, but I love Arca, so I'm sure I would enjoy it. It's a plane flying. US Girls, Heavy Light. Really liked the last US Girls album. Did not hear this one. Moses Sumney, Gray. Absolutely loved his Aromanticism EP/album from, I think, 2017. Didn't really get a chance to hear this one. The singles that I heard were incredible. Beabadoobee, one of the most fun artist names to say. Sounded pretty good, heard a few songs. Think that would be really cool. Thundercat, It Is What It Is. Heard a couple songs from this. Sounded pretty good. Same story. Waxahachie? Probably Wax. St. Cloud, this is their new record from 2020. Liked their stuff in the past, saw this on a lot of year-end lists, enjoyed the singles, didn't hear the full album, would like to soon. Same goes for Jessie Ware, What's Your Pleasure? Didn't hear that one. Sadie, really bummed that I missed this one, and I didn't know until today when I was preparing these note cards that it existed. This is the album from Sadie of Speedy Ortiz. This is her first solo album, I believe. Maybe she's made others. But yeah, really would like to hear that. I thought about mentioning 21 Savage, Savage Mode 2. Don't really think that would end up on this list, but it's probably funny and enjoyable. Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. Didn't hear that. And Soccer Mom, Color Theory. The lead single from that album was in my favorite songs of the year, which I will put a link to, by the way. I made a Spotify playlist for it. Didn't hear the album. Would really like to. I think that one I will for sure listen to in the new year. Okay, now that I've gone through those, here are the honorable mentions for stuff that I did listen to, but didn't quite make it onto the list, and it is exclusively populated by 3 singer-songwriter women. Fiona Apple, Fetch the Bolt Cutters. I think everyone in the world who watches this will be upset if they give a shit about me even talking about this, that this didn't make the list. I think there's a lot of contributing factors to that. The main one being there was way too much hype around this, like the Pitchfork 10. I don't know. It was too much for me. I've always been a Fiona Apple fan. I love Tidal. I love the Idler Wheel, the whole long extended title of that album. Love her stuff. Thought this was great. Just didn't really get into it. It didn't mean something to me, but it's definitely worth mentioning, and this being on anyone's list could not possibly be a problem. Also, Leanne LaHavas had a self-titled album this year. Really loved her 2015 record. I don't remember what it's called, like the pink cover. This one, also very good. And then Laura Marling, Songs for Our Daughter. Another great artist, another great album that I just didn't listen to that much, so I couldn't really feel confident in putting that on a top 10 list. So there you go. Those are the honorable mentions. And now I will get into my actual top 10 for this year. So actually, no, never mind. I have a lot more honorable mentions. Can't believe I was gonna miss all of these. I'm just gonna rattle through these. Disclosure, Energy, really strong first half to an album that falls off dramatically, but that first half is so good that it's worth mentioning here. Run the Jewels 4, to me, doesn't stack up to their other records. There's not as much replay value there besides that Just track with Pharrell. But it's good. The production is great. The rapping is good. Freddie Gibbs' The Alchemist, I think, is a superior album. Really enjoyed that, was playing it a lot when it first came out. Not as much lately, but still a really solid project. I don't think it holds up the way that a Freddie Gibbs Madlib album does, but it's very good, and it will definitely be in rotation for some time. Caribou, Suddenly, great record. Slotface, Sorry for the Late Reply. If you like some punk rock on the poppier side, a little bit of pop punk but not cringy, go for that one. Adrienne Lenker, Songs, from Big Thief, Adrienne Lenker. This was another very sweet, tender album in a year without, you know, some banjo Sufjan music. This is the one to go to. Destroyer, Have We Met? Listened to this a lot at the beginning of the year when it came out. Loved it. Can't say I remember a whole lot about it. Kind of dropped off my radar, but definitely was loving it initially. Bob Dylan had a late career highlight with his new album, Rough and Rowdy Ways. Definitely check that out if you have not. Real Estate reliably makes very nice, easy music to listen to. Their new album, The Main Thing, totally fits this bill. It's another Real Estate album. You kind of know what it is, but you should check it out anyway because it's just nice, and we need some nice things. And finally, I would like to mention an EP which would have comfortably been probably in my top like 7 or 8, and that is TK Maidza with Last Year Was Weird Volume 2. This project is fantastic. The songs are impeccable from start to finish. There's a little bit of genre hopping. You definitely get some like trap influence stuff, some pop. There's a song called You Sad, which is one of my favorite songs of the year on here, and highly recommend this. If you have not heard of TK, do yourself a favor. It's super accessible, it's super fun, it's super interesting. So definitely give that one a shot if you've not heard it. Now I'm gonna get into the actual top 10. Again, not gonna take a super long time for these. You know who to go to for that. You have Fantano, like Sean C, check those people out. This is just my list. This is just so you know, and if you wanna check this stuff out, you should. Number 10 of the year, Open Mike Eagle, Anime Trauma and Divorce. This album is hilarious. I've been into him for a while, but his albums sometimes leave me at a little bit of a distance, leave me a little bit cold. This one, he goes into a little bit more accessible production. The song structures are a bit more clear, and it's a blast. There's a song called The Black Mirror Episode, which is hysterical, and another one of my favorite songs of the year, but this whole thing from front to back is great. Number 9, Perfume Genius, Set My Heart on Fire Immediately, is what it's called. You can't not like Perfume Genius. Saw them live, saw him live, them. He's cool. This album is very good. The songs are very good. And I don't know if I have too much to say about it besides that. It's just very, very solid. The production is excellent, not quite as remarkable as the production on, I think, was it No Shape? Was that the title of the 2017 one? I can't remember. The one where he's, you know, doing the thing on the cover. You know what that means, hopefully. Then, number 8, Eves, Yves Tumor, Heaven to a Tortured Mind. Really liked this dude's album from, I believe, 2018, and I think this one is an improvement on pretty much every front. Sorry, it's a car coming along here. It's fine.
I think it's Eve. It's French, you don't pronounce the S.
Is it Yves Tumor?
Sounds a little scary, honestly.
Eves. It's like Eve just eavesdropping. I don't have a lighter.
Yes, you do.
I always think that I don't.
This is my life, folks.
Okay. Pause. Don't actually pause it. Okay. Back to Eve Tumor / Eve's Tumor / whatever sounds scary and fun to you. Like I said, improvement in pretty much every way on his last record. The sounds are super honed in. It's tight. The songs really just like fucking pop. Like, they're fun to listen to. They knock in your speakers. It's like listening to rock with some actual feeling in it, which is kind of hard to come across these days in the way that you get it here. So definitely check that one out. Also, just remembered an album that I forgot to mention in the honorable mentions that would have been pretty close to making this list is the new album from Hooligan Chase called Thomas. This is like a young kid. I think he's like 22 or something. This is his new rap album. If you're looking for like the mainstream rap sound, but done really well with a super solid focus on flow and production, go check it out. It's super fun. Just remember that. Anyway, number 7, Alexandra Savior, The Archer. This was the first album that I heard in 2020, and it has stuck with me this entire time. Super solid singer-songwriter, alt-pop, alt-rock record. Check it out. Number 6, Mac Miller, Circles. Mac Miller is dead, of course, but he nevertheless has an album, and it could have been so bad. Like, I really thought this was not going to be good. I couldn't imagine how a posthumous album from Mac Miller would be not only solid, but one of the best albums of the year. But that's what we have. Like, pretty crazy. All of these songs are so good, and I listen to them all the time. And it's so sad because it's like this dude was just hitting his creative peak, and now we're deprived of everything that he could have made past this point. So super sad, but this album is great. Number 5, Sufjan Stevens, The Ascension. Maybe a little bit of a controversial pick because I know some people weren't super crazy about this record. I thought it was terrific. I don't think it's as good as Carrie and Lowell, but what the fuck is as good as Carrie and Lowell? So it's not really much of a criticism. This is Sufjan going maximalist to just like the nth degree. These songs are huge, they're massive. Sometimes they're silly. You know, he has a fucking lyric about shitting his pants and wetting the bed, but he's able to do that because he's him, and he makes it work. And somehow you're able to hear a song about a dude talking about shitting his pants and wetting the bed and then crying 2 minutes later. Who else can do that? I don't know. I don't think anybody. Number 4, Hein, Women in Music Part 3. This one started lower on the list, and the more that I thought about it, I listen to these tracks all the time too. I think, you know, this is an album that is just drenched in influences. There's so much. Fleetwood Mac specifically is like a huge influence on this record. I think on them in general, but specifically this one. But I don't think that takes anything away from it. The songwriting is absolutely superb. And Gasoline, I mean, Don't Wanna, this album is filled with songs that I'm gonna keep playing for years to come. So that's at number 4. Number 3, Phoebe Bridgers. I think, talking about that Carrie and Lowell vein, Phoebe Bridgers with her new album Punisher kind of fills that void. Like, this is the record to make you cry this year, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, Garden Song is my favorite song of 2020. I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said about this album. It's fucking fantastic. Number 2 and number 1 basically tied. Number 2, I have Porches with Ricky Music. I've been a huge Porches guy for a while. I loved Porches in 2016. He put out an album prior to that called, I think it's called Slow Dancing in the Cosmos, something like that. A little bit of a different sound that he pivoted from with the 2016 album Pool, and then subsequently The House, which I loved even more. I don't love this one quite as much as The House, but that was my favorite record of 2018. I think he continuously is honing his sound further and further and creating something that just no one else is doing. These songs have feeling to them. They embody a time and a place and a presence that is hard to capture on record, and it's done beautifully. And then tied with Porches, I have the Avalanches with We Will Always Love You. This just came out recently, so feels a little weird to put it number 1, but to me this is like the next Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. Like, it gives you this feeling of going through various eras of music and exploring not only what they mean, but how they drive our music now. And even music as a thing, like music as energy, music as performance, music as art. It has all of that, and the features that are littered through this thing are so wildly varied. Like, it just shouldn't make sense that you have Rivers Cuomo and Denzel Curry on the same album, but it's fucking seamless. It's beautiful. So those are my top 2. I think if I listened to the Avalanches one more, it would either solidify at number 1 or go slightly behind Ricky Music, but nevertheless, 2 fantastic albums. That's my top 10. That's all the music that I've been listening to and loving and trying to or hoping to listen to. If you have anything to recommend to me, let me know. And yeah, see you later.